The Clarksville-Montgomery County School System Board study session now in order for July 2nd, 2024, 6 p.m. First item on the agenda is surplus property, child nutrition, first read.
Board, in your packet, you will find the list of the surplus and salvage property. Per board policy, it requires all CMCSS property that's declared surplus and salvage be approved by the Board of Education. You will find the current list attached from the child nutrition.
Seeing no questions. Next item on the agenda is July federal budget amendment. Dr. Luna.
Yes, and I would like to formally welcome our new Chief Financial Officer, Jeff Taylor. We're excited to have him join our team, bringing a wealth of experience from the county and state finance. As you can see, we have him hitting the ground running, and on his second day on the job, he will be presenting budget amendments to you tonight.
We only have four budget amendments with the Perkins Grant, ESSER 3.0, and the ARPA Homeless 2.0 and the APEN. For these amounts, $8,679.25, $168,000, $40,000, and $4,000. These amendments are just to match up with what we have in the E-Plan to align with what the state has already approved. Do you have any questions? I will pass this off to Matt. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next item on the agenda is families in transition. Dr. Luna.
I'd like to welcome our middle school level director, Matt Slight. He's going to talk to us a little bit about the program that we have called Families in Transition and what we have going on with that that's new this year.
Good evening, Board. Vice Chairman Garland, Chairman Griffey, Dr. Luna Vetter, thank you for this opportunity. I want to talk to you just a little bit about our Families in Transitions program, which is based on the 1987 McKinney-Vento Act. CMCSS has worked extremely hard to provide services and support for our students who find themselves in families who find themselves in situations of homelessness. I just wanted to touch base with you just a little bit as a reminder. The McKinney-Vento Act clarifies the eligibility, rights, and guaranteed services to students experiencing homelessness. The federal, apologize, my screen went black. The federal law outlines requirements and parameters of service and LEAs. Assisting students experiencing homelessness, and this law states that eligibility for services expires at the end of each year. Families do need to reapply for determination of homelessness, being homeless, or family in transition. CMCSS several years ago switched to referring to these families as families in transitions. We make sure that all staff are discouraged from labeling students or their families as homeless, given the limiting connotations of that identity. Common causes that are seen within Montgomery County for homelessness is the eviction, rent increase, owner sale of property, economic hardships, natural causes, as we all experienced in December of 2023, domestic violence, and fire. The McKinney-Vento Act definition of homeless, this definition includes children and youth who lack a nighttime residence that is fixed, which means stationary, permanent, not subject to change, regular, used on a nightly basis, and adequate in that it's sufficient for meeting the physical needs and psychological needs typically met in a home environment. Examples that are fairly common among homeless families: sharing the housing with others due to loss of housing, economic hardship, or similar reasons. We often refer to this as doubling up. Living in motels, hotels, trailer parks, or campgrounds during the lack of alternative adequate accommodations, and living in emergency and transitional shelters. Doubled up, the three primary eligibility requirements. Doubled up is number one, living with another family due to loss of housing, economic hardship, or a similar reason. Sheltered, again, in hotels and motels, and unsheltered, living in parks, abandoned buildings, cars, or similar situations. And we've seen all of those within Montgomery County. Fit qualifying examples: living in shelters, children and youth living in emergency transitional shelters, as we saw this past December due to the tornado, and in other times. Doubled up housing, children and youth sharing housing with other families or individuals due to loss of housing. This one specifically needs to be in that That occurs when it is unintentional, when it is not a choice, and they are forced as no other means to double up with another family. Living in the motels and hotels, as we covered just a moment ago. Living in cars, parks, and public spaces, and migratory children who qualify as homeless because they are living in conditions that are stated above. Non-examples, families that are stable and permanent housing, children and youth living in fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence, temporary stay with friends, visiting, vacations, or any non-crisis situation. So if a family comes through and they're just choosing to be here for a while and living as a choice with a particular family or friends, that does not qualify. Voluntary living situations, families or youth choosing to live in non-traditional housing arrangements, which we're seeing more and more of, families gathering together and living under one roof and everybody contributing. Temporary housing for convenience, families living in temporarily in a motel or hotel convenience during a home renovation. This does not include fire. This includes a situation where a family might be redoing a kitchen and decide it'd be more convenient to be in a hotel during that time, do not qualify as fit. And residential treatment facilities. Children and youth living in residential treatment facilities or institutions where they're provided with adequate stable housing care do not qualify as well. Supports guaranteed under McKinney-Vento, free breakfast and lunch, access to educational records, and excused absences for any days missed after special transportation request has been scheduled for that family, which can often take 3 to 5 days for our routers to be able to get the students lined up with bus transportation to their school, depending on where they're living. Additional support, students who are approved for services under McKinney-Vento have the right to transportation, as just mentioned. Special transportation is requested for those families who are not attending their zone school and cannot provide and arrange their own transportation. This happens several times a year, especially due to fires. We have families that are displaced, and part of the law ensures that children get the opportunity to remain in the school that they're zoned for in those types of situations. And transportation goes through a great bit of effort to make sure that those students are routed to their home schools. FIT staff, I get the blessings of watching over the FIT department. I'm very proud of the work that this team has done over the course of the last couple of years. We currently have, actually we just filled our 3rd FIT liaison position. These individuals work to support our schools directly and help to align services with families that need those supports, also working with our registers to make sure that students are qualified and families are qualified. And then we also have a service navigator, which is an individual that the position is currently vacant, but the position goes to make sure that students have what they need to be able to perform academically and to reduce those barriers to learning. So this past year, we've had the opportunity to leverage some of our ARP money to be able to support transportation. The FIT team has purchased 3 vehicles to provide student transportation until permanent buses have been scheduled. This gives us the opportunity and flexibility that a student coming in who may be attending a zone school on the other side of town no longer needs to wait for routing before they can get there. A lot of times our FIT families do not have transportation, and so we're going to be able to help accommodate and provide transportation for them until they are routed. We're also able to use some of our ARP funds in order to provide $30,000 for transportation to help offset the cost of the fuel that they spend transporting students across the district. And we also use those funds, $10,000 of those funds, to provide alternate transportation costs as far as gas cards go, bus passes for students, and those types of things to make sure that our students are able to get to school. What I want to bring to your attention now is FIT students served. This just goes back to 2021, where we served 573 students. As you can see, over the course of the last couple of years, that number has increased greatly. A couple of reasons. One, possibly due to the economic downturn and the economic pressures that our families are facing today, but also the work that our FIT team has done in identifying children who are homeless. We've spent a lot of time educating the community, our hotels and motels, as well as our district social workers and our teachers, buildings, to make sure that they understand what a FIT student is and who qualifies for that. Looking at these numbers, we're looking at an annual average rate of increase of 32.92%. And just looking at that, if we're to turn that into somewhat of a prediction, we could potentially be seeing that number increase for our students next year, 1,786 students who could potentially be in this category next year. So the work continues. Looking at this, this is 42 of our schools. You can see that every school there listed has representation of students who have been identified as homeless or in the fit category. Here's our top 5 highest schools in terms of students who are in attendance there. West Creek High School with 54, Minglewood Elementary 52, Oakland 45, Northeast High School 44, and a tie there for Kenwood Middle School and for Ringgold Elementary for 42. So the numbers I'm about to show you reflect the number of students enrolled at the end of the year. You saw that number at 1343 previously. That's the total number of students that we served during the school year. This is a very transient student population, so these individuals can come in and come out. We finished the school year in May with 1,069 students who are currently enrolled. Here's a breakout by grade level. Elementary housing the most with 582, 54% of our students in this in fit or qualify for fit are at the elementary level. 257 at the high school level and 230 or 22% at the middle school level. As our needs continue to increase, we need to continue to provide services for our families, and so part of the funding that we were able to use this year helped us to secure this new Fit Service Center, which is located at 430 Greenwood Avenue. It's directly behind the Greenwood complex there where the X is marked. So this location is able to help us provide a central location to city bus routes. As I stated earlier, some of our families do not have transportation. Numerous service providers and NGOs are in that local community there. It also provides a private location where we can meet with families discreetly about needs and provide services for them. And it's located close to our enrollment center, which is right next door. The prior locations is one of the reasons why we needed the service center is we've moved around quite a bit. Our FIT team has been very transient themselves in the last couple of years. So having this location is something that we're very happy about and be able to increase the amount of services that we have in a fixed location for our families to know where to go. So that service center, Fort Campbell Military Installation donated a 22,500 square foot portable with an approximate value of $400,000. CMCSS was responsible for moving the portable. We used ARP funding for the skirting of the building at $5,700, replacing the flooring at $21,000, building out additional offices at $8,000, and putting in a upgraded alarm system, electrical system at $57,249. So roughly $91,993 came out of our ARP homeless grant to be able to secure this facility for our families. This will house our FIT liaisons, as well as storage for supplies and schools, materials. Student tutoring will be available through this location, at this location as well. And it also houses 2 of our district social workers who work in conjunction with our FIT team to provide supports and services across the district. I've also included for your reading pleasure, if you want to know more about the McKinney-Vento or want to go back and review that, there are some resources here for you if you have time and want to go back and take a look at any of those items. The last thing that I'd like to close with is our second annual Back to School Bash. Last year we held our first one at Kenwood Elementary School last July. We had over 1,200 community members that participated in this event. We were able to give away 400 brand new pairs of shoes to community members as far as from donations, as well as backpacks, school supplies, and so on. This year we're looking to do that event even bigger. We've had to move it to the high school so that we have more room. Thanks to our partnership with Education Foundation, we'll be able to engage with free haircutting. We'll have a DJ there. We'll be able to provide food for that community as well, or for the community. So that invitation is open to anybody. Would love for you guys to come out and join us if you have nothing going on that night. But also, we do have a partnership with Souls for Souls, and we will be able to donate, thanks to the connection with them, we'll be able to offer 600 brand new pairs of shoes to our community and for people that are in need, plus lots of backpacks and school supplies. So this is a really great event. This is something we're very proud to be able to offer to our community. FIT team is determined to continue to support the best interests of students experiencing homelessness while ensuring compliance with federal laws and related policies. It's our honor to provide these services for our community. We are very proud of the work that we are able to do, and proud of the work that the school district does to support these families. Any questions?
I have one question. And I really don't know how to put it because it's going to probably make some people mad when I say this. Do you think that it's the greed of those that own the homes and that are building the houses that is causing children, a lot of the children, to be homeless today?
I'm not sure that I can accurately speculate on that. I mean, we track a lot of the reasons when people come in and we meet with the families. We get a lot of families coming in from outside our community that come in and settle in the Clarksville area, and I think some of that is due in part by connectedness with military families that are in the area. But as far as that aspect of it, I would be afraid to even speculate on that.
I asked the question because the cost of housing has climbed so quickly in this community. Homes that was purchased at $80,000 are now worth $290,000. It don't make sense to me. I'm not an economist, but the bottom line is I think I think personally that might have something to do with some of the problem that we have. And my concern is the fact that we expect it to get up to 1,700 in next year between now and then. I know that we are a growing community, and as long as we grow, we're going to continue to, everything is going to continue to skyrocket. But as leaders, I don't know what it is that we could do to actually try to help remedy some of these situations, because I think that a lot of these children are living in cars, living under bridges, they're living with other people that they don't really want to live with simply because they cannot afford the rent that's associated with a rental property here today. Any other question? Mr. Mayberry?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the presentation and reading through this. It was a lot of information I did not know about, so it's incredible what we're doing for this demographic of people. If somebody wanted to donate towards this endeavor, would that be through the Education Foundation?
Actually, it depends. If it's a financial donation, then we use the Education Foundation. If it is anything else, you can actually just email fit@cmcss.net, and we'll be happy to coordinate with you.
Okay, great. And then resources, if you can talk a little bit about sources we have out there to help get them out of these situations. I assume that the building that we built, they can meet them there, as you said, discreetly. Do we have partnerships and plans with people out there that could help get them out?
Yes, we have been able to build a pretty elaborate and robust network with our community organizations. We've been able to take one family specifically that was a family of five living in a truck, all the way from finding them to housing to supplying furniture for them, not us, but with our community partners and helping them navigate that, to finding a job and being resourceful and independent again. And so because of that work that our team has done with the community organization, support of the community, we've been able to open a lot of doors.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
See no further questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is Rossary Road right-of-way recommendation. Dr. Luna?
Yes, I'd like to welcome our facilities manager, Brian Lopp. He's standing in. Our chief operations officer, Norm Brumbley, is out this week. This is related to the expansion going on out by the Kirkwood complex, and Brian's going to explain that all to you and what's needed for next steps.
Good evening, Board. Dr. Lunavetter. In April 2024, the Facilities Department was approached by SWP Services to discuss the upcoming Ross U Road widening project from International Boulevard to east of Kirkwood Road and the need for right-of-way acquisition to facilitate the project. SWP Services, the right-of-way agent for the county, has provided completed documents for consideration at this time. Some of you may have had the opportunity to experience the traffic congestion around our Ross U campus prior to the widening that has taken place. The Ross U complex sat on an unimproved two-lane road for 26 years, and while somewhat better, it is not complete. Traffic infrastructure was a great concern to the Joint Land Acquisition Committee when considering the Kirkwood location, another three-school complex located on Ross U Road, serving some 5,000 customers when completed on a two-lane unimproved Rossview Road. We did not want to repeat what we have experienced. In 2018, the Joint Land Acquisition Committee challenged the mayor to proactively address road infrastructure around the proposed Kirkwood complex to support another three-school campus on Rossview Road. He agreed. Through the design process, we had our engineers set aside space on campus to accommodate those plans. The loop road was set back off of the current Rossview Road configuration in preparation for a future road widening. How did this request come about? In 2023, the County Highway Department and County Engineering Department engaged engineers to begin the project design. This project is a partnership between Montgomery County and the state of Tennessee. Using county taxpayer funding, the county does the design work for the right-of-way acquisition using local dollars. Then the state does construction using state and federal dollars. This is a large highway widening project estimated at $45 million. Rossview Road will be widened to 5 lanes with curb and gutter drainage along with sidewalks, improving 3.12 miles from International Boulevard to east of the Kirkwood campus, impacting 70 separate tracts of land. How does this project affect CMCSS? CMCSS is impacted on the Kirkwood property in 3 separate tracts or portions. Design of the campus included a voluntary setback to accommodate the project with minimal impact to the campus. We knew this was coming and needed it to happen, so we designed for it. Tract 100 corresponds to the opening of Kirkwood Middle School land in 2022. Tract 101 corresponds to the opening of the Kirkwood High School land in 2023. Tract 56 corresponds to the opening of the Kirkwood Elementary School land in August of 2024, which is still on schedule and on budget. The appraiser, SWP Services, contacted the CMCSS Facilities Department on April 16th, which initiated the district's FAC P004 due diligence review process, as SWP Services wants to expedite the right-of-way acquisition for the roadway project. SWP Services, working for Montgomery County, has offered the following: a design with minimal impact on CMCSS. This will require us to evaluate these breakdowns here. The acquisition includes 0.241 acres of permanent right-of-way, approximately 10,498 square feet. This will require the transfer to the state of Tennessee. 1.21 acres of temporary easement, which CMCSS will retain after construction is completed, is broken down into 3 categories. 0.12 acres of drainage easement, 0.62 acres of slope easement, and 0.47 acres of construction easement. The acquisition applies to the 3 tracts as detailed in the sketch. Tract 100 is a sliver totaling 0.042 acres along the straightaway. Tract 101 is a slice totaling 0.199 acres in the curve, and Tract 56 is only containing temporary easement only. CMCSS has received a reimbursement offer of $40,200 for the permanent right-of-way and the breakdown of the 3 temporary easements. Montgomery County purchased the property for a school campus that needed a roadway expansion. In collaboration with county officials, we earmarked a portion of that Kirkwood property to support the future expansion. It is now time to dedicate this strip of land to the state to facilitate the roadway expansion. Considering the value of the benefits CMCSS will receive in perpetuity for the roadway expansion, our staff recommends donating 0.241 acres to the state as right-of-way for the widening of State Route 237 Rossview Road and foregoing the compensation amount of $40,200, which would lessen the burden on the taxpayers of Montgomery County. At this time, do you have any questions?
Seeing none, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, just a moment.
Yes, sir.
The life of the easements, I know the right-of-way is permanent, but the easements that you're granting that will come back to us, what is the life? How long does that easement last?
That's only during the construction of the roadway project.
Okay, so as soon as it's over, it's not an easement they can come back to for something else?
That's correct.
Okay.
Great. Again, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is Director of Annual Evaluation, Dr. Luna. Mr. Nolan?
Yes. All right, Board, every year, this comes up, so it comes up in two ways. The board evaluates the director's performance, and then we review and extend the director's contract. So just by way of history and background, of course, we signed the original contract with Dr. Luna Vetter July 5th of 2022. By state law, you can't have a contract with a director more than 4 years. By state law, you must have a contract with the director. So we're doing what we need to. We extended it last year, and so currently the contract is good through June 30th of 2027. So we review it annually. Generally, boards will extend it for another year because a year has expired. That will be something that y'all have the option to do in the future. That is not tonight. And in fact, it won't be until September that you would be eligible to do that. There's another state law that says you cannot modify or change a director's contract 45 days before an election or 30 days after an election. So this would be up for discussion in September at the earliest. And that would be the contract review or extension. Now, we do have the director's evaluation because we've had a performance for the year, so y'all will do that coming up this month. I got, and I can't remember if this is part of the packet. If it's not, we will. During the course of the year, the director has made presentations regarding the executive limitations that you put forth in your policies. And so we have reviewed all of those in response to the director's reports, and the board has approved all of those reports for the past year. I can give you the dates for that. I can't remember if that's a part of the packet. So that is the evaluation, which is separate from the contract review. And I also wanted to bring it to the board's attention. Again, this is something off in the future, but it's part of the contract we have with the director. Every 3 years or sooner, as circumstances may dictate, the board will review the base compensation and benefits and make adjustments accordingly. So, and it says that this shall be completed in time to be approved with the next budget. So going forward, the board will need to complete that salary and benefit review before we get into budget discussions for next year. So sometime in the spring, y'all will need to conduct that review to see how our compensation for a director compares to the others in the market. So that's not something for tonight. All these things are in the future, but I did want to bring it to the board's attention because it's on there about the director's evaluation. Any questions?
The evaluation was in the packet.
Okay.
It was provided.
All right. Okay.
Hearing none. County Commissioners, do you have any comments?
Quick comment. The presentation we got on the FIT program today, I did some rough computation. At a 32% growth rate, we would have in 3 years over 10% of the population in our school system would be families in transition. I would encourage you to spend a lot more time. It would seem to me that intervention at this point, greater intervention is necessary. That 32% growth rate is really alarming to me personally. And I know there's been some circumstances in our community that have happened that have caused that to increase, but we need to do anything and everything we can to keep that growth rate down to as low a possible rate as we can. 32% is obscenely high, in my opinion, so it has my attention. I think it's got y'all's too, as well.
Yeah, most definitely have mine. Thank you, sir. Any other
Thank you.
comments on the commissioners? Thank you. Board, do you have any comments? Mr. Mayberry?
I just wanted to say I agree, Mr. Harper, and I appreciate the comment.
Seeing no other comments, Dr. Luna, it's on you.
Good evening, board members. While only preliminary state assessment data has been received based upon every test taker in the district, we are cautiously optimistic of the initial achievement results of our students. The continued focus on high-quality instruction and intervention by our educators is yielding positive gains. We have seen improvement in proficiency percentages in 14 out of 21 areas, with CMCSS exceeding state averages in all but one grade band and subject area. A much bigger picture will be available once we receive the growth scores to measure the progress year over year. While students and teachers are enjoying some much-needed time off this summer, our district-level team will continue to delve into the data to find the bright spots to replicate, as well as areas of opportunities to grow. We will celebrate our successes with our administrators and teachers, but we realize there is still much work to be done as we continue to strive to be the best public school system in the state of Tennessee. As we head into the 4th of July holiday, I hope everyone finds time to spend with family and friends, and I pray that we never take our independence and freedom in this nation for granted. Mr. Garland, this concludes my report for the evening.
Thank you, and this meeting is adjourned.